Submarines hid under the ocean thinking no one was watching. They were wrong. Something was always above them, quiet, patient, endlessly circling. And then, one day, the Navy killed it. Not because it failed, not because it was weak, but because someone decided it was time. So, what kind of aircraft gets retired even after doing its job perfectly? This is the story of the Lockheed P-3 Orion. The aircraft that didn't chase enemies. It waited for them. And this isn't a failure story. It's a decision story. Because once you understand why it was retired, you begin to understand how modern warfare really works. The P-3 Orion was a maritime patrol aircraft, but that phrase sounds smaller than what it really was. It was an ocean sentinel. More than 20 countries operated it over the decades, from the United States to Japan, Germany, Australia, Canada, and beyond. If your nation depended on sea lanes, chances are you trusted the Orion. It first flew in the early 1960s, and somehow it kept flying through the Cold War, through its end, and deep into the 21st century. No flashy dogfights, no Top Gun glamour, just quiet domination over thousands of miles of open water. But how do you hunt something you can't even see? Submarines live in silence. That's their advantage. The ocean hides them under layers of water that bend sound and swallow signals. The Orion answered that problem with patience. It would drop sonobuoys, small floating sensors that acted like underwater ears. They listened for the faint hum of propellers, the subtle rhythm of machinery, the acoustic fingerprint of steel moving beneath pressure. Above, the crew would analyze that soundscape like detectives listening through walls. If you enjoy powerful stories from the world of military aviation, subscribe to Elevon and join us as we uncover the machines, the missions, and the moments that shaped the skies. And when the submarine thought it was safe, the Orion had another trick, a long magnetic detector boom extended from its tail. Massive metal submarines slightly disturb Earth's magnetic field as they pass. The Orion could sense that disturbance, a tiny ripple in an invisible field, a whisper in physics. 10 to 12-hour patrols were normal. Imagine that. Hour after hour over empty ocean, waiting, watching radar, listening to static. The ocean thought it was hiding secrets. Okay, the Orion disagreed, and here's the part people forget. It didn't even need to fire a weapon to win. Just being overhead forced submarines to stay deeper, move slower, delay missions. Presence alone changed behavior. That's power. So, if it was this effective, why retire it at all? You've probably heard the simple explanation. It was old, unsafe, too many problems. Technology moved on. Sounds logical, right? Old aircraft eventually break. Yes. After decades of saltwater exposure and relentless flying, structural fatigue became real. Wings needed reinforcement. Some airframes required grounding for inspections, but that wasn't design failure. That was time. Metal ages, corrosion wins small battles every year. The Orion didn't suddenly become bad at its job. It didn't forget how to find submarines. It didn't lose trust from its crews. Time simply caught up to it. So, if it wasn't mission failure, what really happened? The real shift was strategic. By the 2000s, warfare was transforming. It wasn't just about endurance anymore. It was about networks, satellites, instant data transfer, digital battle management, information flowing in real time across ships, aircraft, and command centers. The Orion was upgraded many times, but its foundation was still from the analog era. It was brilliant at listening, but modern war demanded more than listening. It demanded instant sharing, rapid integration, seamless digital architecture. Meanwhile, maintenance costs were rising. Spare parts for 1960s systems don't sit neatly on shelves forever. Airframe fatigue, inspections grew more intensive. Modernizing older aircraft isn't just about adding new screens. It's about reinforcing bones that were never designed for 50 years of service. Let me ask you something. What happens when a perfect tool belongs to the wrong era? Modern wars don't reward patience the way they once did. And they reward the speed and data dominance. The Navy needed an aircraft built from the ground up for that environment, not one constantly adapted to it. So the decision was made. Not dramatic, not emotional, strategic. The Orion would retire. To the crews, though, this wasn't just math. It was personal. Generations had flown this aircraft. It had shadowed adversary submarines during the most tense years of the Cold War. It had supported operations quietly, without headlines. When it brought crews home after long, lonely missions over cold seas. It never asked for glory, it just did the job. When retirement came, there was no scandal, no dramatic failure, just a gradual farewell. Its replacement was the Boeing P-8 Poseidon. Faster, jet-powered, designed in the digital age, built to plug directly into modern, network-centric warfare. It processes and shares data in ways the Orion was never originally designed to do. It represents the shift from endurance-first doctrine to information-first doctrine. But even the P-8 learned from the Orion. It inherited the mission, the patience, the philosophy of ocean surveillance. It simply speaks a newer technological language. The P-3. Orion didn't lose a war. It didn't lose relevance overnight. It lost a decision shaped by fatigue life, budget realities, and the unstoppable march of digital warfare. Submarines still hide under the ocean. Something still watches them. It's just different now. The Orion was not the loudest aircraft, not the fastest, not the flashiest, but for decades, it quietly controlled the underwater chessboard without applause. It watched the world change from above, and eventually, the world changed beyond it. So here's the question. How many legends disappear not because they fail, but because the world moves on? Sometimes, the most dangerous aircraft isn't the one making noise. It's the one that waits, and sometimes, the hardest decision in military history isn't building the Guardian. It's knowing when to let it rest.